Welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be discussing CrowdStrike, the cybersecurity stock which experienced a global IT outage, grounded flights, affecting hospitals, even banks and payrolls across Canada and the United States primarily. They're one of the biggest cybersecurity providers. They're a major player, as you can see and even read on the reports. Businesses across the world were affected by this, by one single company. So I want you to think as well as an investor that one major company could affect so much across the world. Shows how much we are a global economy. Now, with that said, this is a bittersweet video. CrowdStrike is one of my favorite companies. When I heard this news break, I was surprised, to be honest, on how this could even happen. They're calling it a global IT outage. I have my own opinions if it was an outage, to be honest, but we won't get into that. That's up to everybody to what you may think in terms of that. But you have to be honest with yourself as an investor. One of the main rules I always tell everybody to live by is that you have to know when to cut, when to hold, and when to buy. As things change, as investors, you have to look at what has happened and why you bought that stock. If there is something that broke in terms of the fundamental reason, a negative report, a negative situation such as this outage, you have to assess and know, is this position still worth holding? This is a major player in the cybersecurity department. Having an outage when you're supposed to protect all the information that us as companies hold so vital and people's information and data, that's not a good look, which can definitely affect business. CrowdStrike is one of my favorite companies. Great balance sheet. It's an important area, but this is something that we're going to have to discuss and see how it affected the stock. If we take a look from when the security outage took place, which was July 19th, or let's start from the high, which was on July 9th. So the high of 398 roughly, all the way to 250, the stock hit a bottom of. So it fell 37% due to the news breaking. If you look across here, it did hit this area of support. As I said, stocks like to find areas of support to bounce off of. So one key thing you want to look at when you're looking at the stock is what's going to happen next. Well, let's look at the chart and look at some of the bars. If you look at the first bar, it's setting up a nice fundamental pattern, which is a higher low. It's hit that base at 250, and then it's continuing higher. If you look at the next day, which is July 26, it set another higher low, and now it's continuing to the third day, which is another higher low. So it's a good base from a fundamental perspective. Let's take a look on where the stock can move from here on out with all of this playing out. If we're looking at where it's going to move from here, if it continues on this path, a lot of times stocks, when they fall a significant amount, they like to have what's called a relief rally. Usually a lot of times it'll fill any gaps that happen in the drop. So if I'm looking at CrowdStrike at this moment, I do believe the first level will be around that 290 area, 288, 290. That's the first area. If CrowdStrike is able to make this move up to this line and pass through to it, I do believe the next level will be around the 309 to 310 area. That's the next level it could clear. And if it's able to clear through that level, I do believe it could go all the way up to around 340. Now, that is a big if. We have to see if it's going to have that big of a rally. It could stop at this line, it could go to the second line, or it could continue back down. But one thing you want to pay attention to is this date right here. This earnings report is a major thing that you want to pay attention to, because on Tuesday the 27th, CrowdStrike is going to report its earnings. We're going to find out if there's any lawsuits, potential losses, a lot of things that the company is going to face, and more information of what really happened. We're going to have to look at this company for the next 6, 12, maybe even 15 months and pay close attention to the earning reports to see the fallout. This company is deeply entrenched among all, or not all, but a lot of Fortune 500 companies. So switching over is not that easy of a thing to do. So we're going to pay attention. I like CrowdStrike stock, but this is something that you have to watch. Now, when it continues on this line, let's say this earning report on the 27th of August is bad, it's very easy to see the stock reject and go down to maybe the 200 level. If we zoom out on CrowdStrike and you look at the support, let's go to the 5-year chart, as it's always good to look at a big picture. you can see a clear support at this 200 level. This is an area I think the stock will bounce to, or fall to, sorry, if something does bad come out on the report. If we have a period of several customers are lost, a big name such as Microsoft or something large like that, the 170 level and also the 142 level is in play. Those are areas that you want to look out for. It's going to yet to be seen what happens, but these are the areas I'm looking at on CrowdStrike. Me, myself, I look at CrowdStrike as a company you would want to add shares in when you see big drops like this. But being honest with you, you have to be cautious when situations like this arise. Anything could happen. You don't really know the true fallout. So if you're going to be buying into this company, you want to buy at deep levels because either way, if this company doesn't end up being the number one anymore, the number two, it's still a formidable company with a great balance sheet. So if you hold this company long term, I have a pretty good feeling you'll still see a good return. I personally believe to always have the best in your portfolio. And if this was a fundamental loss and trust that was broken, you have to assess that. But the one thing is in chaos, there's always opportunity. So a company like Microsoft, Fortinet, Palo Alto, Zscaler, this will be an opportunity for them to step up and maybe take some of that market share that CrowdStrike could potentially be losing through this disaster.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, and as always, let me know in the comment section on what you think.